Hello, everyone. It's Frank McGuire.
I'm Christina Dudema.
I'm Saba Mir.
And welcome back to another episode of Meanwhile, back on the podcast. On this episode of Meanwhile, the ladies and I are bringing you part one of our supersized Disney Investor Day recap.
In part one, we're discussing all the news, updates, and casting announcements from both Marvel and Lucasfilm. So if you've been living under a rock, we've got you covered. And as the geekdom rejoices over the early Christmas present, we're going to flip the script a bit and get into the harsh reality of what an undertaking of this size and scope could mean. Is it all an upside? We're going to give you our thoughts.
But it's not all doom and gloom as we find ourselves trying to imagine what might be on Peter Quill's long-lost Christmas mixtape, and we propose a very patriotic yet radical casting criteria for one of our favorite X-Men.
All this and so much more on this episode of Meanwhile Back on the Podcast.
Meanwhile, back on the podcast, four colossal nerds named Saba, Chris, Christina, and Frank have set out to take on a great darkness that has enveloped the world of fandom with their powers of common sense and the strength to take on even the most butthurt Twitter mobs and insufferable comment section trolls. They fight for truth, objectivity, and nuance in the conversation and debate over fictional made-up shit.
So, like we said at the top, this is our supersized episode for the Disney Investor Day recap. Man, what a presentation. I was blown away by what they did at DC Fandom, but what Disney was able to achieve with the Investor Day thing virtually, well, they've probably done it that way for quite a long time, and I think that they got it down to a perfect science by now. But amazing production value in that Investor Day presentation, wouldn't you say, guys?
Yeah, it sounded like it was full of a lot of information and lots of events came out of it. So.
Yeah, I didn't even end up really catching it. I just got I was just getting like updates to my phone and I was like, wait, what? And then I went on Twitter and it was like all this stuff started to be like trending on Twitter.
Yeah, I was just watching the live tweets as they were going.
Yeah, so that they were really able to like grab an audience real quick for that at least. I mean, there was a lot of things we already knew about, I think, that they kind of like were just reiterating, but they definitely added a lot more than I thought they were going to.
Yeah, no, I watched it, so I guess I'm really the only one that can speak to the production quality. I just kind of put it up in the corner of my computer screen while I was working that day, but it was pretty incredible to see. You know, they did a lot of it was a lot of green screen trickery to make people seem like they were standing in places that they weren't standing, and it was really cool. I dug it. How was everybody's weekend? Did anybody catch that episode of The Mandalorian? I just wanted to say a quick little something about that. So, did you guys see it or no?
I didn't watch
I
that
did.
yet.
I did watch it, actually.
Christina.
Sorry, I don't watch it like right when it comes out. I usually watch them in like twos every other week.
Okay. Well, I think I can say this without spoiling anything. Bill Burr just gave the best performance for The Mandalorian in all of 2 seasons.
I will say that
performance.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to agree
Summer.
with you. I was going to agree that I'm not going to say much, but like you could really see it in his eyes and you could see it in his body. And the whole time I was watching with my brother and I was like, don't do it. And he had to do it. So yeah, I was really surprised actually. Yeah, he was really good.
Amazing. Hats off to Bill Burr, man. Like Jesus. And you know what? I've seen him in other dramas. Obviously he was in Breaking Bad. He played one of Saul's henchmen or whatever the hell it was. But that guy needs more dramatic work. They need to give him more opportunity to flex his skill set because he's really, really, really good. He's got a lot of great range. You can see him go from being super funny and jovial and then find this way to dive into the darker side of humanity. And I really loved this performance. I was just blown away by it. This qualifies. We're talking about Disney, so I can talk about The Mandalorian a little bit in the opening. So yeah, man, hats off to Bill Burr. So let's get into this. I just wanted to kind of establish, get everybody's kind of reaction after. I'm just looking for a couple of words to kind of describe your reaction after hearing all of the announcements. All 10 for Star Wars, all 10 for Marvel, and then all the Disney ones and all the Pixar ones. So Saba, if you had to put in a couple words, how do you categorize your post Investor Day feelings?
I would say excited yet realistic about this. I mean,
okay.
I think, and we're going to talk about the idea of fatigue later in this episode. I think it's it's really great. They're producing all this content. Some of this content I'm super excited for. More Star Wars than Marvel, just because Star Wars was kind of more my first love, but for both. And there seems to be a lot of cool story ideas. I'm going to be waiting. I'm going to see how it is when they come out. You know, I'm hopeful. Like, it seems like production qualities are going to be high, but it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to look forward to, especially like if we're going to be staying at home for a while, hopefully not too much longer, but you know, there's that. So excited. I am excited.
Okay. Christina, how about you?
I was surprised that there were so many announcements. I do like the idea of expanding the Star Wars galaxy, and it sounds like they're going to go in a lot of different directions and explore a lot of different things that we want them to explore. I probably won't watch all of it right away. Some things I will probably come back to later because I agree. I think it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of series kind of happening at the same time, and I don't think I can follow like that many shows at once. We're going to be inside for a while, so I'm going to have lots of time to watch things as I feel like watching them. So, yeah.
Yeah. As a side note, though, so like National Geographic, which is under Disney, announced like 2 new shows, and one is with Will Smith and like one is with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't see the trailers or anything, but I'm kind of excited for that. I got the National Geographic channel, and
Nice.
it's like a fun channel, actually. It's like what Discovery Channel maybe used to be before it turned into like weird Shark Week stuff. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's interesting.
Nice. Yeah. So did you guys see my Instagram story the other night? I kind of like put together, I kind of editorialized a little bit about my feelings regarding the whole Investor Day announcement. Did you guys see that or no?
I didn't see it. Why don't you tell us?
Well, it's gone now.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
that's how Instagram stories work. They're gone. You
Yeah.
know, they're there and they're gone. But I'm cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, I'm also trying to be realistic and pragmatic from a business standpoint. I'm looking at this as a marketer and as somebody who consumes a lot of content. And human beings really only have a finite amount of time to watch things, right? We don't necessarily just have an unlimited scope of time. We just can't, we're not able to consume everything. So I see a couple of these projects as sacrificial lambs at the end of the day. There's going to be some cancellations in that range of projects for sure. I don't think that they can find a large enough audience for all of those things
I hope
to be able to
not.
justify
I hope
them.
that's not true.
Well, if you do the math, right? Like, and also you have to consider the culture that we've been seeing in streaming as of late, where Netflix is canceling a lot of their shows. And they've been bringing back, other streaming services have actually been picking up programs that have only went 1 season or 2 season. So not only is Netflix canceling a lot of their shows very early in the process or very early in the viewer's experience, but there's also other streaming services that are picking up already canceled shows because they have this need for content. And I don't know about you guys, but I find it pretty frustrating if I dive into a show and then I find out it got canceled before the story reached its natural conclusion. You know,
I feel
would
like
would that
Netflix-
piss off either of you guys?
Yeah, I feel like Netflix cancels shows based on what's drawing in viewers and what isn't, and they're probably doing it so that they can divert money into creating new content. So, I mean, that one doesn't bother me as much. The one I didn't I really wanted to see season 4 of Glow, so I was really disappointed that they canceled season 4 of Glow.
Me too.
But I
Yep, me too.
can't think of any other one where I was like, oh man, really? Like of the Netflix shows. I feel like a lot of the ones that got canceled were just whatever, that weren't on my radar.
Well, that's because, see, that like what you're saying is the reason those shows get canceled is because nobody knows exactly at any point in time like what greatness is on Netflix because there's too much to go through. Right. And go ahead, Saba.
Oh, I was going to say, as someone, so like personally, I haven't seen like a lot of shows, not like in terms of shows on Netflix and stuff. And it's really hard for me to watch a series and finish a series. It's really bad because I'm not a person who's like, I'll stick with it just to finish it. As soon as the series starts going bad, I'm like, all right, done. And I don't have like I can't binge either, which is why I like that The Mandalorian is coming out a week at a time, because I find that like people get ahead of me really quickly and they're like, oh, this and this happened and I know I should just binge it. But like you said, I don't personally, for me, like I like watching TV, but I don't have that, like, you know, with all these series coming out, like I don't think I will be able to watch all of them. And then there's the question, do I have to watch all of them to understand like the greater connected story? You know, there's that aspect as well that's kind of behind this that kind of makes me as well a little bit cautious. But there was something that you were saying, Frank, about being realistic about the cancellations and with Disney Plus. The thing with Disney Plus is they haven't really produced a lot of their own content yet. When you compare it to like a Netflix or like Amazon or Hulu, right? Like they have such a back catalog, but Disney itself and Disney Plus, like there's not a lot of original content, which kind of makes it feel like, what am I paying for? Like my nieces and nephew use it way more than me, which is why I haven't like gotten rid of it, because they watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Shout out to Mickey Mouse. But yeah, so there's like all those things I think to think about.
Sure. No, I think that they were smart about the franchises they picked.
Yeah.
Because they can find different audiences within those. They can find a young adult audience. They can find an adult audience. They can find an older adolescent audience. You know, so I think that they were smart about the ones that they chose, because it's a mix between male lead characters, female lead characters. It's a mix of, you know, some are even considered probably an ensemble cast. I feel like She-Hulk is going to be an ensemble cast for sure. Like she's a lawyer, so she's going to be coming in contact with the same people a lot. So I think that there was a lot of thought put into what ones they were going to do and why they were going to do it. They wanted stuff that was culturally diverse for the wider appeal. But at the end of the day, again, it's just math, right? We can only watch so much.
Well, I think
we
can
only
only
watch so
at
much.
least wait for ratings to come out and see which shows do well. And like, of course, some of them might get canceled after for one season, but I think they'll at least give us one season of each of these shows.
Well, this sidebar into watching habits was directly kind of tied to how I was feeling after Investor Day. But there were definitely some very exciting announcements that had me jumping out of my chair. I'm very upset at Tatiana Maslany for lying to me. I personally want to write her a letter and just be like, how can you? You're
Don't
Canadian.
do that.
You're not allowed to lie. You're not allowed to lie. You're Canadian. Like, come on. Like, set the example. And then hearing about Christian Bale, like, holy shit. That threw me on my back. Like, I was just like, wow. I can't believe that, one, that I guessed who it was going to be, and two, that it's going to be this particular character, which we're going to talk about as we move forward here. So let's not waste any time here. I think we're kind of diverting, and I really, we need to get into this because there's a lot to cover. So let's start with just a rapid fire recap of all the new projects coming down the pike from the folks at Disney Plus. So we're going to give you the project, the creative team behind it, and a couple of the cast members, and then we're just going to kind of go through this as quickly as we can. So first one up, Rogue Squad. We'll go through Star Wars first. So first one, Rogue Squadron. It's a feature film. It's going to be directed by Patty Jenkins of Wonder Woman fame. And it's going to tell the story of a group of new X-Wing pilots or Rebel pilots. Maybe it'll be more than X-Wings.
Or maybe
it'll
not
be
so
A-Wings. No, actually, it's going to be new pilots, apparently.
Oh, they're not going to have Wedge? Okay, I thought, Wedge started the Rogue Squadron, right? So I thought they might do a callback there, but I'm excited for new characters either way.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a young adult movie. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now. I think it's going to be a young adult movie. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting.
Yeah, I really like the video games, and I know that Patty Jenkins said the story won't be based on the video games, but I think I'm looking forward to this movie. I think it could be fun, and I think it could be something similar, like either a standalone movie or open up a different part of the galaxy for us to explore, a different part of the timeline. So yeah, I think it's interesting to me for that reason.
Yeah, and who doesn't love an X-Wing?
I just want to see. Yeah, no, for sure. X-Wings are great. But it is a squadron, so there could be a B-Wing. There could be a C wing. There could be an A wing. I hope there's some B wings in there. I love the B wing. It's one of my favorite, I guess, starfighters. I think it's a B wing. Yeah, I think it's a B wing. They had a B wing in Rebels that Harrison Dula was flying for to like test, and it's got amazing firepower. It's fast as shit, and it's like super super agile. So I would love to see some B wings. I think it's a B wing, but I just want to see aliens. I don't want any humans, right? I don't need humans. Let's get some aliens, but let's take some human cultural iconography and symbology, and let's weave it into the alien cultures. That's what I want to see. I think that could be really fun and cool and very interesting. You know, we've had enough Star Wars movies with humans. I want to see some aliens. I want a lead alien. That's what I want.
I mean, I feel like if you want that definitely is going to be Taika's movie, which we're going to talk about later. I feel like if anyone is going to do just aliens, it would be him. But, you know, maybe, I'm sure there will be like aliens in this for sure, obviously. But we'll see if they're the main characters or not.
Yeah. And with the way 2020 is gone, who knows, man? Maybe Patty Jenkins could be casting a real alien in 2021.
I know. I've heard the rumors. I'm excited.
Oh, there's lots of crazy rumors right now, man. Joe Rogan just had Jacques Vallée on his podcast. And I don't know if you guys know who Jacques Vallée is, but he's the guy that Steven Spielberg modeled the French ufologist after, the guy in Close Encounters. I don't know. You guys know that movie, right?
Yeah, I saw that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
in high school.
So they were dropping some serious shit. Like they were literally saying that the American government has had contact with aliens. They have bodies, they have craft. And my mind was blown, dude. And I really think we're leading up to disclosure. But anyways, another sidebar. Let's get back on track here. So Saba mentioned Taika Waititi. That's the next one up. Untitled Taika Waititi film, currently in development right now. Taika's apparently writing it. And during the visual presentation, when Kathleen Kennedy mentioned Taika, they brought up this Star Wars logo that I've never seen in my life before. And it was like something like super psychedelic. Like it was shot on this like corner angle.
Wait
and it
a
was
minute.
Like blue and purple or like blue and pink.
Oh my goodness. Do you know what I want to know more about? I want to know more about the Spice Runners.
Yeah.
The Spice Runners could be cool.
Yeah.
The Spice Runners could be cool. But I want to get more into like,
I could see Taika doing a Spice Runners movie, but I don't feel like this one will be that. I think that would be more like,
and you know he's going to be in it, right?
Sorry?
You know he's going to be in it himself. He's going to cast himself. He'll have some crazy ass part where like he brings the comedy. It's going to be good. The droids will be dope. Yeah, super excited for Taika. So next one up, Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be starring Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and is now confirmed that Hayden Christensen will be making his return as Darth Vader. And the show is going to be directed by Deborah Chow, who has done some incredible work on The Mandalorian. Now, Hayden Christensen is coming back as Darth Vader. Okay, here's my problem with this. Okay, and granted, I think the Star Wars franchise is starting to eclipse the film, like the film canon now, because the film canon doesn't support these stories. So the TV canon is going to start to almost overshadow the film canon. I think that's what's going to happen, because there's no mention of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan having any contact with each other anywhere in any other canon 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, 10 years after Eye of the High Ground.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'm with you on that. That is the one thing I was a little worried about when I heard this. I really like Hayden Christensen, and I think it's great that he's finally getting I feel like the respect he deserves in terms of the franchise, because people really hated on him at the beginning.
Yep.
But yeah, in terms of them meeting, it is possible there could have been something, but because I think I read something where it said one final showdown or another showdown or something, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like the first time they saw each other again, it felt like it was A New Hope, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe there is some tying in going on.
I just think that because films are small in terms of duration, like narrative duration, right? Because they're smaller in narrative duration, the TVs the TV shows are gonna eclipse the canon of the TV proper or the film properties because there's much more in it. You know what I'm saying? Like The Mandalorian, if it keeps going, like it only really needs a couple more seasons to have more running time than the entire film franchise, right? It may even have more running time than the film franchise right now. I'm not too sure. I'd have to do the math, but that's where we're headed. Is Star Wars is going to eclipse the film canon. It's gonna be the new place where the canon gets defined. It's no longer going to be the films anymore, because if they want to continue to tell these kinds of stories where, you know, and be able to justify it, then they're going to have to, like, the TV canon is going to be like the bedrock, the foundation of the storytelling, or the streaming or TV on demand. You like, dude, you can't even call it TV anymore. That's so weird. But yeah, okay. So moving on. Ahsoka.
I also read
go
that
ahead.
in this show they could introduce the Inquisitors, who are a force.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, they're force sensitive dark side agents who are out to hunt the Jedi who escaped Order 66. So if that's the plot they go with as like the main through line, that sounds really interesting to me. I would watch that.
Well, that's what they had in Rebels.
Okay.
See, that's why everybody needs to watch Rebels. Like, watch Rebels. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so
the Inquisitor
I did see
is
that they were
amazing.
from Rebels, and that this might be characters from Rebels that they bring into this show.
Could be. It could also be Cal Kestis too, because he's in the video game, and you deal with Inquisitors in the video game as well, in Fallen Order, in Jedi Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? There could be a lot of tie-ins here for other Star Wars canon. Okay, so next up on the docket, we have Ahsoka, which is going to star Rosario Dawson. Dave Filoni is, of course, writing the series, and Jon Favreau is attached to produce. I love that this is a Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau property. I love
Dream
that.
team,
That's
dream
fantastic. Yes. The Favs, or the Fuzz and the Favs. Anyways, I'm really excited that they're going to be working on this together. I think that they've found this kinship with each other creatively, and I think that they work phenomenally well together.
Also, no egos. That's the thing. Yeah,
that we know of.
That we know of.
Yes.
Yeah, but if
It doesn't.
they have chemistry and an understanding between each other, then I think even if they do have egos, they might not like interfere with each other.
Well, the thing I like about Filoni and Favreau is that they're a counterbalance to Kathleen Kennedy, and they've been working like either directly with Bob Iger or the other Bob, and they've basically been taking their marching orders from him. And, you know, they're trying to course correct some of the things that kind of went off the rails with Star Wars. And I'm glad to see that there's somebody there that can do that, you know. So I'm excited to see what can come out of this series. I've been very vocal about my criticisms for Rosario Dawson's portrayal of Ahsoka. I love Rosario and I love Ahsoka, but I did not like it when they were combined. This was the worst. I don't know, man. Like it just didn't hit the character buttons for me. I didn't feel that her personality was in line with the Ahsoka that I know. And granted, Ahsoka in this show in Mandalorian is like 45, almost 50 years old. I get that. But I don't know. There was no snap to her. There was no snarkiness. There was no spunk.
Here's the thing, and this is the way I can defend it. If you are someone coming to Mandalorian who doesn't know much about Ahsoka, and she comes in all snappy and snarky, especially like you said, she is older. Like she's learned a lot. It might be not off-putting, but it might come on a little bit strong for that episode. And maybe with this series coming out, they'll be able to explore it more, because think about it. It's like like a 30-minute, 40-minute episode tops. So there's only really so much they can put into it. But I know that she's a character you like a lot.
Yeah.
I love her. I love her. She's literally my favorite character. Like, she's my favorite Jedi of all time. And I say that with complete impunity for Luke Skywalker, because Luke Skywalker was the only Jedi in the galaxy, had nobody to measure him against. And I always get so frustrated when I hear Star Wars fans saying, Luke is the greatest. Luke is the greatest. I'm like, no, he's not. He had one guy to go up. Two guys to go up against. And he almost got his ass kicked by the third one, or the second one. The other one had to step in and save him. So I have anyways, yes, I love this character. I love Rosario. I hope they get the look right. I didn't really like seeing foam wrinkles in Ahsoka's, in Ahsoka's Montrals. that was so Comic-Con, because every Ahsoka you see at Comic-Con has those foam wrinkles in their montrals. And I'm just like, that's kind of amateur, guys. Like, you could have used the digital, like you own Industrial Light and Magic. Like, you couldn't cover that up. Like, take some time, brush that up, make it look more presentable.
Maybe they wanted her to look older or something. Maybe it's intentional.
Yeah, but if they wanted to make her look older, her montrals would have been longer too. But yeah. Anyways, they have some time to work it out. Again, I don't think it was the best portrayal of Ahsoka, but yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I heard fans crying that Ashley Eckstein should have been Ahsoka in the TV series. And I always thought to myself, I was like, I don't know, man. She doesn't have the physicality, I think, for it. But after seeing Rosario Dawson's performance, I was like, maybe Ashley Eckstein should have continued on as Ahsoka, because at least the voice would have been right. And I think the voice is kind of iconic with Ahsoka. What do you think, Sava? Do you think your voice is a little iconic?
So I've seen I've only seen probably half of the first season of Clone Wars. I'm through the process of watching it now. So she's still a kid then. So the voice is different. The Ahsoka that I saw now, the older one, had that mature vibe, which is different. I didn't really have any issues with her. I thought she was a really cool character. It's the way that she was portrayed in the TV show. I really actually didn't have that many issues with her at all. And I'm actually really excited to see them kind of dig deeper. I was really interested to see what her story is, because she talked, and we're not talking about the Mandalorian show, but she's out there looking for someone. If you guys haven't seen it, go ahead, watch it. So I was interested in knowing more about her story because of that. And I thought maybe she would intersect in the Mandalorian again. Turns out she will, but it'll be in her show Ahsoka. So
yeah, it's going to be set during the times of the Mandalorian. So I wasn't too enthused about that, to be honest with you. I wanted a prequel. I wanted a prequel to the Mandalorian.
I kind of like that it's happening at the same time, and then we can explore.
Isn't Rebels?
I like that it's set in the same time, and I think that's going to allow us to explore more of what's going on with different through lines and storylines that we might not get to explore in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, and it's not the only show that's going to be in that timeline. If we start talking about this new show, which is Rangers of the New Republic, that's also set in the same timeline as the Mandalorian. So obviously Ahsoka, and it's the same thing. Executive producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they're supposed to be, they say, a climactic story event that I guess will tie them all together. So I kind of started doing the math here. So I was like, okay, Mando takes place about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. The sequel trilogy is about 30 years after the Return of the Jedi. So there's about 25 years in between there. And we've already seen reference to this in our last episode of Mando. Without any spoilers, there was a character who said, and he was from the dark side, obviously, who said people think they want freedom when they really want order, and I feel like what this this series is going to do is set up the prequel, the sequel trilogy, not the prequel trilogy. There's just so many. I'm already getting confused. But I do see that sort of tying in, and I think they might do a better job of explaining what the hell happened in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I think as they continue to develop these TV properties, and if they do a really good job with them, I think the affinity with the film franchise is going to kind of start to lose its grip on Star Wars fans. Because if you look at the scope of storytelling, if you look at the scope of characters, if you look at the scope of narrative, and even mythology too, the whole mythology, the ethos, it's so much grander on the small screen so far, right? If you account for all 7 seasons of Clone Wars, if you account for 5 seasons, I think it's 5 seasons of Rebels or 4 seasons of Rebels. If you account for all that, and then you put together the Mandalorian, you put together Ahsoka once it gets going, and you put together Rangers of the New Republic, that's a lot of Star Wars. And that is a tremendous amount of Star Wars.
I think that's part of Disney's goal. I think Disney wants a less rigid Star Wars fan base, and one that's more accepting of changes to some of the story points and things like that. More like Marvel fans. So I think they're trying to turn the vibe of the Star Wars fan base into something that's more like a Marvel fan base.
Yeah, they're gonna you know it, there's gonna be a multiverse. There'll be a Star Wars multiverse.
It does seem like that's where this is going.
No, don't want a multiverse.
But I think
Don't
it's,
want a multiverse.
I don't think it's gonna be. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a multiverse. I think everything's. It seems like
No.
everything's occurring like in the same universe, but
Yeah.
like in different periods of time, different points in time.
You don't need a multiverse when you have a giant galaxy to explore, right? Like, as the outer rim and the unknown regions of the galaxy, there's so much fruit out there. There's so much. Did I say food or fruit? I wanted to say fruit. There's so much fruit out there. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many things that you can draw off of. So you don't really need a multiverse to get the story going.
Well,
I think that there's enough there that you could kind of sink your teeth into with any of these other regions. So, and there's been a lot of talk about characters already that are from the unknown regions, because Thrawn is from the unknown regions. He's part of the Chiss ascendancy. So it could be cool to kind of get into his story. Okay, so moving on, we got to keep rock and rolling here. So we mentioned Rangers of the New Republic again. Filoni and Favreau set during Mandalorian. Lando series obviously centered around Lando Calrissian, being developed by Justin Simien. He created Dear White People, which is on Netflix currently.
That's a popular show
interesting.
on Netflix. So.
Yeah. Apparently he's a huge Star Wars fan. So I think Lando could be a fun character to explore for sure. He was really cool in Clone Wars and Rebels. He kind of, he did what he does. He gambles, he takes huge chances, and he makes things more complicated for the rebellion. So, it'll be interesting to see what story they come with for this guy.
I read about potential stories. So someone said at the end of Rise of Skywalker, Lando sits next to Janna, or he's talking to Janna. And
that's his daughter, yeah.
Yeah, so she's saying that she doesn't know where she comes from, and Lando says, well, let's find out. So some people think that they're going to go on this journey to try to find out where she's coming from, and then realizing that he's her father.
Dude, it's going to be a prequel. No way. They're not going to bring Billy D. Williams back for this.
Some people are saying that they might. Yeah, some people were saying that.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
No fucking way. Not happening. People need to be realistic.
I also,
the last person.
So this was CBR. I read an article on CBR that said that. So
okay.
That's what they're saying. And then I also read that it's possible that they might also do flashbacks. So both Landos might be in it, which would be interesting.
Okay, you know what? If they shot some like vignette scenes with Billy D for flashbacks, like him remembering, and then the whole story, and then the whole show is like him younger.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I can dig that. Okay. But I've been accused of being an ageist before by both of you, but I'm going to try not to do it this time.
Which is funny because you're the older one of all of us.
But I'm saying from a marketing perspective, there hasn't been a show led by anybody over the age of 60 in ages.
Oh,
right?
You know what?
And
that just makes me want it to happen now. Now
yeah,
I want
exactly. Exactly.
I
That
didn't
makes me want it to
before,
happen
and
too.
now I'm really behind this.
Okay,
I
everybody
also
go
hope
sign
that
Saba's
Appa's
petition. It's
character
coming.
gets to
It's
be
coming.
Yeah.
What?
I also hope that
What?
Appa's character gets to be a main character of one of the new shows.
Appa's great,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's not in his 60s yet. He's still
I
He's
don't
still
know
a
how
fairly
old
young
he is,
guy.
but I hope he gets to be one of the main characters in one of the shows.
Oh, he'll be in Rangers of the New Republic
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I was reading that he might be one of the main characters
Yeah.
in that, and that got me really
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, if you don't think they're not going to lean into Kim's Convenience fame, you're crazy.
He's very popular.
That's
I think they
definitely
showed.
happening.
Yeah.
That's definitely happening. Yeah, okay, so Lando could definitely be an exciting project. I think that Justin Simien can put a lot of cool cultural context and a lot of cool socio-political context into the galaxy. The Empire has always been this subjugating group that looked at everybody that wasn't white and human as like, well, no, looked at everybody human, looked at everybody who wasn't human as like the same kind of bigotry that some people have towards people of color. Like aliens they were subjugated. They were treated like shit and marginalized. So I'd love to see Justin Simien come into this world and put that into context. I think that could be fun.
I definitely think that that's something that will happen just based on what Your White People is about, or at least like he'll give these characters that he does bring in a rich background. He's going to make them have like a good story. So
I'm really excited for this next show though, which is Andor. which
Yeah,
if you
me
guys
too.
remember
this looks
from
great.
yeah, so Diego Luna is reprising his role as the rebel spy Cassian Andor from Rogue One. I'm super excited. I know it's a prequel, so we do know how this story ends. But one thing I've
Yeah.
always said, yeah, one thing I've always said is that I love to see the dark side of the rebellion, you know, the actual dark
Yep.
side. And we saw that with his character. He was definitely, you know, towing that line between, you know, I wouldn't say right and wrong, but just like, you know, it means to an end. Does it justify what you're doing?
Yep.
So I'm super excited about that. The trailer for that was really interesting because they were showing a lot of the production and the scenes and how much was going
killing
into
it.
the show.
Yeah. Yeah, they're killing it.
Yeah, I really
you know-
love the characters that were in Rogue One, and I love Rogue One. It's one of my favorite movies of all the new movies, so I'm really excited to see some of the characters reprising their roles, or the actors reprising their roles. And yeah, this one looks like it has lots of aliens, Frank. I was watching the trailer for this.
It does.
I think you're going to get that in this show.
It does. Well, because the aliens are the biggest part of the rebellion, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not welcome in the Empire. So they have, like, if they want to be free, they have to be part of the rebellion. So they're an ally. Like, all the alien worlds become allies of the rebellion. So I'm super excited to see that. And I think Cassian Andor is the coolest name in the entire Star Wars universe.
Oh, 100%.
That's like the dopest name. Like you could literally be an R&B singer with that fucking name. Like, you could totally have any career you wanted and people just look up to you and be like, you're cool. All right. Nice. It's like being named Christian and being white, you know? Like, that's exactly what it's kind of like. But yeah, no, I'm super stoked for this. There was an interview with Neil Scanlon during that little featurette, and Neil was saying that they're pouring the same amount of effort and creativity and ingenuity that they do in the movies into this series.
Yeah.
And I really thought, when I heard about this series, I thought it would be the redheaded stepchild of the Disney original catalog. I really thought that they weren't going to go this hard with it, but
this one
it seems
feels
like they're
very
leaning really
Disney.
hard into it.
It feels like
Yeah,
something
it
Disney
does.
would do well, actually. So yeah.
Yeah, it feels very Lucas. It feels very Lucas. It feels very Spielbergy. I'm super excited to see it. And then they got a great additional cast. Stellan Skarsgård, that you know as Dr. Eric Selvig from the Marvel franchise. He's going to be in it. Adria Arjona, I couldn't find any credits for her. Fiona Shaw, who was Mrs. Dursley in the Harry Potter franchise. Pretty prolific actor.
Okay, yeah, but not only that, but she's in Killing Eve, and she is amazing.
Oh,
in
yeah?
Killing Eve.
Cool.
If you've seen Killing Eve.
Cool. I haven't checked that one yet.
I've
I'm
wanted
going
to watch
though.
that. That's with Sandra Oh as well. Yeah, that looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that one out. Denise Go, new name in the Star Wars universe and genre film and TV. She's practically like a newbie. And then Kyle Solar, who is apparently he's got this pretty prominent role on this show called Poldark, which is on PBS. I see posters for Poldark all the time. And Genevieve O'Reilly is reprising her role as Mon Mothma, who she played in Rogue One. So I think we're gonna get to see a lot of the Star Wars universe through this particular show. So I'm excited about that. So the next project up is The Acolyte, which is the female-centric, headed by Leslie Headland, who did Russian Doll on Netflix. It's a mystery thriller dealing with like shadowy secrets and some of the dark side stuff in the final days of the High Republic area.
Yeah, this sounds really fun.
Era.
Interesting.
Yeah, it does.
And
it definitely does.
It gives like one show with like at least a bit of a different vibe, maybe something that might feel a little bit less Star Wars-y. Yeah.
Also a time period
Yeah,
that we haven't really explored at all in terms of like live action
on
media.
TV, yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yep.
think that's really interesting. And I know that, you know, the High Republic was this new thing that they're really going into and dropping, you know, a lot of different, I know comic books and media in that form. But I'm super interested in this. I really want to see how they like came to power in a sense, because the High Republic is the, you know, the golden age. And
Yep.
we kind of catch things when everything is starting to fall apart. But obviously those seeds
Yep.
were planted long before that. So, you know, mystery thrillers are
Could
fun.
be cool. Sorry?
I said mystery thrillers are fun too, just in general. So.
Oh, I didn't catch what you said there at all, but great. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, mystery thrillers can be fun for sure. And apparently that's what Russian Doll has a lot of. So I'm sure Leslie Headland has a skill set for that kind of narrative storytelling. I'll tell you what I would love to see from Leslie Headland though is like a biopic with her and Harvey Weinstein. That would be awesome. I want to see that.
I don't know who Leslie Headland is at all. So
oh, she was the one. You remember I told you that they had hired Harvey Weinstein's former assistant.
Oh no. Oh,
she's the one.
That.
She's Weinstein's former assistant. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And Kathleen Kennedy threatened the entire Lucasfilm group with, you can't ask her questions about it. And if you do, it's like misogyny and fireable and all kinds of crazy
I'm
shit.
going to look into that myself as well, just so you know. I mean, I don't distrust your sources, but I'd also rather just look into that myself and see if Kathleen Kennedy said that verbatim.
Yeah. Well, apparently that was one of the things that she threw down. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. The Bad Batch. This is Clone Force 99. They were first introduced in that last season of the Clone Wars. Wrecker, Crosshair, Hunter, and Tech. They're clones that are super enhanced beyond the normal clones. Wrecker is obviously this super strength guy. Hunter has got these crazy instincts. Tech is like, obviously he's really good with tech, and Sniper is a sniper.
So it's a superhero show in the Star Wars galaxy.
No, well, kind of. They're like enhanced soldiers.
Yeah.
It's like Universal Soldiers inside Clone Wars, like that kind of deal.
Yeah.
So it's basically going to be an animated show about the Bad Batch and the missions that they're taking on. And I saw some of the clips, and it looks like it's going to take us right up to the point where Order 66 comes down, and Palpatine takes over the Senate and basically announces the Galactic Empire. So I think it would be cool to see how the Bad Batch reacts. Like, and also, do they have the chips or do they not have the chips? Right? Do they have the chips in their heads or do they not have the? Oh, by the way, Christina, Sab, I don't know if you guys got this far in Clone Wars, but it turns out what turned the the clones bad, or what compelled the clones to shoot the Jedi was control chips in their heads.
Yeah, that part I knew. And it seems like, and it seems like with the Bad Batch, it's like they don't have, it doesn't seem like they have the chips. It seemed like in the trailer they were confused a little bit.
Okay, well, that's good. Because like if they did have the chips, that would kind of be a useless story.
Yeah.
Or somebody comes along and tells them that the chips are in their head and then they help them or something like that. I don't know. But this could be good. Honestly, I kind of found the Bad Batch a little formulaic. Like they were just kind of archetypes from war movies. They really didn't have like a ton of personality. They weren't really that interesting. They really didn't have a lot of depth. So this project I'm not exactly that too thrilled about. And as far as Star Wars goes, I'm more excited by the mythology and by the Jedi and by the the more spiritual aspects and all that kind of stuff. So the war stuff really doesn't do it for me. I'm not like really huge into that, but yeah. So that sounds exciting. And then this one sounds really, really cool. Star Wars Visions. It's animated short stories told by the world's premier animated artists and storytellers. I think that could be really good because we see Star Wars anime popping up on YouTube like all the time now. I saw the TIE Fighter anime was really, really dope.
Yeah,
there's a couple Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, there are good ones out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be really cool. And obviously, there's so much to tell. Like the galaxy's so big. There's so many stories you can tell. There's so many different races of aliens that you can explore. I think it could be really neat. I think it could be really fun to explore. So that could be cool. And then the last one for Star Wars is a droid story, which is going to be like this amalgamation of Lucasfilm Animation and Industrial Light and Magic, kind of combining animation and practical effects to create this show, which is more or less going to be this new hero that's going to be introduced alongside C-3PO and R2-D2.
So wait, is the new hero also a droid?
Don't know yet.
Okay.
I think it's obviously going to be because they called it a droid story.
So I'm going to call it now. I love these characters, but if we're calling which show is going to get canceled, I feel like it could be a droid story.
I don't know. The droid episodes in Clone Wars are actually, some of them are okay. They're not.
They're okay.
They're not that bad.
They're not that bad.
Yeah, they're okay. Yeah,
That's not
that bad.
Yeah, that's not, that's not the endorsement I was looking for, But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if R2D2 and 3CPO can be like main characters. We'll see.
They totally can. Listen, okay? I'm glad to see that R2 and C3PO are finally getting the respect that they deserve. Okay? Because they were so underused in the sequel series, it was kind of gross. I really didn't like that. One of the things that I really loved about the Duel of the Fates script from Colin Trevorrow was R2's role at the end. Like, that was the most poetic thing I've ever seen in sci-fi. Ever. Like, anything. Like, that, to me, that moment was as iconic as the monolith in 2001. And I didn't even get to see this moment on a screen yet. Okay? That's how iconic reading about this moment was for me. There was literally almost tears. There was tears welling up in my eyes when I was reading about this. Seriously. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And if you haven't read Duel of the Fates yet, please take the time to go and read Duel of the Fates. We might do an audio play for it at some point. It's a might, but we might.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe write in and put pressure on Saba and Christina and everybody else to want to do it. But you don't have to pressure me. I'm all on board. Okay, so moving on beyond Star Wars, because there's a couple other Lucasfilm projects I want to talk about. Willow. There's going to be a Willow TV series, and I think that because of the success of Game of Thrones, because Lord of the Rings is going to be on Prime, and because there's been a couple of Netflix projects that have kind of, been on the edges of fantasy. Obviously, The Witcher. There was Cursed, that female reboot of the Arthurian story, and there was something else too. Oh, The Letter to the King. They did that one too. That was pretty cool. I actually like Letter to the King. I thought that was kind of interesting. So I'm not surprised that Disney is taking their one fantasy property and trying to blow it up. Like, it doesn't shock me at all.
I honestly,
go ahead, Saba.
As I honestly did not hear about Willow until you mentioned it. Which is weird because I know a lot about fantasy, but yeah, this is really, I think, the first time I'm hearing about this movie and the series, so very new to me.
Have you never seen Willow?
No, I never even heard of it before you brought it up.
The plot sounds like something very Disney-esque. A baby floating down a river and sorcery. And,
it came out before I was born, but I know that's not an excuse because so did all the Star Wars movies, as well as a lot of stuff I like watching. But this was obscure enough that I never watched it.
There's an evil queen and
didn't
a
have
child
Mark Hamill
with
in
a
this
special
one for you, so. Yeah. Well, okay, so the one thing I'll say about Willow, it literally is the first like female-centric fantasy. Well, I guess you could count Red Sonja, but I'm not going to count Red Sonja because Red Sonja is like it's like a Conan fantasy. It's not really closer to like a high fantasy. So Willow literally has like all the main, well, the protagonists are mixed with a lot of very strong female characters. And actually two of the strongest female characters are well into their older age, and they're both women. And there's like this crazy battle at the end. So it was, it was new for like it was rare for its time, very rare for its time. And obviously it stars, what's his face? Warwick Davis, the guy that played Wicket in Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wicket.
You
guys remember Wicket, right?
It sounds like something I would give a watch and see if I could get through it, but yeah.
Well, I don't know what the story's going to be yet, but I'm sure it's going to be the baby's grown up and she's become like she was supposed to be a princess. Yeah, she was supposed to be a princess. So I'm sure she's ruling her kingdom now, and Willow's actually the title name of Warwick is the name of Warwick Davis's character. His name is Willow Ufgood, and he's a wizard.
the funny thing about Warwick is like I know him a lot from just like British TV because he like will used to guest on a lot of like panel shows and is really into British panel shows. And that's when I found out that he was in Return of the Jedi as well. I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that he was
Really?
like
Wow.
the Wookiees. I mean, like I knew about it after the fact, right? But yeah, no, I've
The
never.
Ewoks, not the Wookiees.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I've not heard of Willow that he's in, but I have heard of the Leprechaun movies that he's been in.
Oh yeah, he was in Leprechaun too. I totally forgot about that. I didn't watch Leprechaun.
I haven't seen them either, but I know there's a lot of them. But yeah, no, exciting. I do like that. Wait, this is not being produced by Lucasfilms, though, right? This is just Disney.
No, it is. No, it is Lucasfilm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's interesting that Lucasfilms is now starting to produce things that are outside of Star Wars as well, because they have another property that they're also going to be doing, which is that Children of Blood and Bone movie, which is based off the book. Which I think is cool. They're starting to delve into other things to sort of expand the market, which does make sense, I think, in the long term of like longevity and wanting to sort of, you know, keep producing things. So I think that's good that they're starting to do that.
And children
that one also sounds like it has elements of magic and seems like a fantasy thing as well.
Yeah, it's a cultural fantasy. I think it's set in Africa. So I think that could be really cool to explore. It sounds like a great book. Apparently, it's been
a fictional land of
Orisha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And, there's magical people and non-magical people.
Where have we heard that before?
I'm just reading the plot on Wikipedia.
No, I know, but I've heard like there's you know, like that's literally, isn't that Harry Potter, like Muggles and
yeah.
But anyways.
It kind of sounds like it's something like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
No, it takes a lot from. So I haven't actually read this book. I stopped reading YA books, but I'm probably gonna get back. And I read like a whole book this weekend. Like I've been reading like crazy during this weird pandemic. But
nice, dude.
Yeah, but it's like actually a trilogy as well, and it's basically like about this young girl who's basically just trying to restore like magic in her kingdom. I think like the magic has been lost or something. I don't know too much of the details of it, but it does seem pretty interesting. It's probably a book that I'd probably want to check out as well. So that's cool.
And the author of the novel was inspired to write it after a trip to Brazil. And she said that there was a gift shop and African gods and goddesses were depicted in a beautiful and sacred way. And that made her want to see something that featured like African folklore in a movie format. And then she also wants to bring politics into it. So it's going to talk about police brutality and all that sort of thing. So
Cool. No, that sounds dope, man. That sounds really, really cool. I like when they can they can actually take a real culture in you know in our world and you know interweave it into something, you know. I think that's really neat. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited to see Titans this season or next season, is because apparently Starfire's culture is going to be interwoven with a lot of Senegalese culture, which I think is going to be kind of neat. So that could be really cool. Yeah, no, it does for sure. Okay, so moving on, we're going into Marvel now. So goddamn, Disney, literally Star Wars and Marvel, just like both barrels. And honestly, did you guys kind of feel like a lot of this was a counterpunch to what HBO Max and Warner did the week before?
Not really. I think we had to expect that Disney was going to create some shows. We already knew for a long time that they were going to do some Star Wars shows. And same thing with Marvel. Marvel has been talking about their shows for years. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's a counterpunch to HBO. I'm just going to say that they've started talking about it again now that it's become relevant again.
True. But yeah, like this is a great time to be a nerd. Like, look how much shit we're getting. It's crazy. Like you would have to go to a comic book store to expose yourself to this many characters. Yeah. And now we can literally turn on our televisions. It's crazy, dude. It's so crazy. Okay, so jumping into Marvel. So we'll go through the announcements in the news first. So WandaVision premiering on January 15th. We got a new trailer for that, which we're going to talk about. The Falcon and Winter Soldier, March release date, and a trailer. No new cast announcements, but we did get some more detail through the trailer, which we are going to get into. Loki premieres in May 2021. It's going to be a crime thriller, which I think sounds awesome. Casting confirmations, Owen Wilson. I speculated on this like months ago. I saw his nose and I was like, that's Owen Wilson. And I saw his nose under a hood. Like his nose was just coming out of a hood. So I knew it was him. He's got like that broken, like you can tell he broke his nose when he was younger. You can totally tell.
Yeah.
Sophia DiMartino, she was in Yesterday. Richard E. Grant, Doctor Who, The Rise of Skywalker, Logan. Richard E. Grant's going to be, I think will be great. Okay, I'm going to try and pronounce this name right, but it's definitely challenging. Gugu Mbatha Raw. She was the lead character in Fast Color. I saw that movie. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's something that exists outside the scope of Marvel and DC, but is also a superhero kind of story. It's somebody with powers. It's a good movie. It's a really, really good movie. And I think a lot of people should see that film. It's so good. And she was in Black Mirror and Doctor Who. So more Doctor Who people.
Nice.
And then Wonmi Masaku. And she was in Lovecraft Country. So Marvel is picking from Lovecraft Country a lot lately.
Wasn't it
Interesting.
Lovecraft County?
Oh,
No.
Is it county or
Is it
country?
county or country? Oh, okay.
I think it's country.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Trying to trip me up.
Sorry,
Oh, well.
just checking.
It's okay. I'm totally joking, dude. Hawkeye is premiering late in fall 2021. Confirmed as Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop.
Which is really weird.
Vera-
'Cause that's another one that was like up in the air. No, we're not. No, it's not her. And then all of a sudden, oh, it is her. Like it was another one of those.
Yeah, I'm getting a little upset at people lying to me about casting now. Like it's there needs to be a law against that. Like once you get found out, you can't lie about it. Like that should be a thing now. But anyways, Vera Farmiga, who I love in Bates Motel. Oh my God. If you guys haven't seen Bates Motel, it's so good, dude.
My mom was like obsessed with that series and she like watched
That
she binged
show.
it.
Oh, it's so good. So good. She's playing Haley's mother, Eleanor. Fra Fee, I don't know who this guy is playing Kazi. And Alakwa Cox is playing Maya Lopez, aka Echo, who is the first. No, she wouldn't be the first now. Yes, actually, she would be. She'd be the first Native. No, she wouldn't. There was a guy on Gifted who was actually Native American too, who played Warpath. So that would not be accurate. I was gonna say she's the first Indigenous person to play in a Marvel property, but that was in Gifted. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Maya Lopez is a really cool character. She's a mimic. She can mimic the same way that Taskmaster does.
Oh,
So she
cool.
has the same mimicking powers. And she's deaf. And she actually is a part of Daredevil's mythology for a small piece. And she's also the first one. I think she's the first Ronin. I think she's the first one to become Ronin. And then
okay.
Clint Barton becomes Ronin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be really cool. A really cool story. And she's related. Her father was friends with the Kingpin too. I'm pretty sure. So that could be pretty cool to dive into. Yeah. And then Miss Marvel, Matt Lintz has been cast as Bruno. If you don't know who Matt Lintz is, he's Henry from The Walking Dead. And I really liked Henry on The Walking Dead. So I think that's really cool. And obviously, what's her face? What's her name?
Iman?
Yeah,
No.
that's it. Aman Vellani.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sela.
Oh, I actually don't have that listed, but yeah. So Iman Vellani is one she's obviously been casted as Miss Marvel. There's been, I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of this, but there's been a lot of controversy with the Miss Marvel casting as of late. There was a really big trend going on, which was a sort of fix Miss Marvel movement.
About Bruno, right?
About Bruno, and not just Bruno, but Nakia as well.
Okay.
Was one. Nakia is, Turkish Muslim who wears a hijab, and then in the series they cast a half Turkish girl that is not a hijabi woman, which yeah, and it's also a woman who's Christian, which
Can
is
you
fine.
explain the difference for our listeners who may not know, Saba, as far as like the hijabi wearing?
Okay, yeah. So as a Muslim woman, you basically, have this choice if you choose to wear the hijab or you choose not to. Nakia is a really cool character in Miss Marvel, and she wears a hijab. And the thing I really like about her character, whereas Kamala's character is always kind of questioning herself, and she's kind of feels a pull between the two cultures. Nakia is so sure of herself and so confident, and that's the thing that I really love about that character. So there's been, questions about the casting for that too, and yeah, also the casting of Bruno. I know there's been a lot of stuff. We won't get into all of the details there, but
yes, it seems weird that they would put a Christian woman in that role who doesn't really understand that nuance and of that kind of a decision and how that would impact her life. I hope that she does some research or talks to some people who would have been in that position.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the hope that, anyone going into this role is doing the research and taking it seriously, especially because, we're seeing more of these type of women, like more women who wear a job, like actually in television. There's TV shows on Netflix that portray that, and it's, becoming a little bit more of a norm, which is nice to see. But yeah, I can totally understand where some of these fan complaints are coming from, but that's like a whole different story, I know. But yeah, there's definitely some controversy around there. Either way, it is a show I'm excited about. So I really do hope they take the time and do the research to sort of, make sure that they're kind of bringing out like the best of what was in the comics is really, that's like the only wish, right?
Yeah, because I think in society in general, there's a lot of misconceptions about how that decision is made and why that decision is made. And so I think, I hope that's something they explore, because it is something that's explored in the comics. So, and I think that can help inform people and teach through this format of movie. So,
Saba, as a big Miss Marvel fan, I wanted to get your take on how you felt about the physical match for like Amon being a good match for the Miss Marvel from the comic book. Do you feel like it's a good one?
Yeah, what she has is she has that like youthful look to her, if you know what I mean, like that sort of like, I don't know if she looks exactly like the girl that's in the actual comic, you know what I mean? It's not like a one-to-one. But, seeing her talk and her excitement, you can really feel that from her, which I really like. To me, she seemed really endearing. And Kamala Khan is like an endearing character for me when I read her, Like I feel like she was like a little sister or something.
Cool. Well, I love that the creative team is really pushing towards this something that's going to ring true for a lot of the Muslim communities, like the authenticity. Like if you go down the list of the creative team, you got Adil Adil El Arbi, Bilal Falah, Mira Manan, and Sharmeen Obaid Shanoy. And I like that they got a creative team that can really put together the background and the nuances of that culture. I think that's going to be really key, because I think that's one of the reasons the comic's been praised so widely, is because they were able to do that in the comic book, right? That was one of the things that was popular with the comic book, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the thing, because oftentimes when these type of families are portrayed on TV, it feels like a stereotype. It feels like, you know what I mean? It's like they haven't really done the research. I remember even reading the first comic, like it was very much something I could relate to, if not exactly, but like a lot of the things that were being said and done, but also just portraying like the environment and how loving it is, and the food aspect and all this other kind of stuff that, is particular to this culture, but I feel like other people could understand as well, which is just like nice. The more you see of something, the less strange it becomes. I feel like, when we get more diversity, when different types of stories are portrayed and different type of people are shown, like, people start becoming otherized, if that's, if that makes sense. So,
totally
I'm excited for that, especially in like a Marvel landscape.
Cool. No, that's awesome. I'm definitely excited to see it. I definitely think that I'm excited to see how they incorporate the Terrigen stuff. I hope that there's an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. in this story, because that's really the only way that the Terrigen thing is going to make sense for me in terms of the context of the TV Marvel universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Daisy is obviously, she was a victim. Well, not a victim. She was, you know, the Terrigen is what turned her into Quake. So, it would be cool to see, one of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. be brought into the story. But
I feel like they might, because one of the announcements that we have is that this character will probably be appearing in Captain Marvel 2 along with Monica Rambeau. So I wonder if there's going to be some tie in there, right? So
yeah, that sounds interesting. And Monica Rambeau is also in WandaVision too. So
yeah, they're really going for interconnectivity on this run for sure. So moving on, She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany, you huge Canadian liar. She's playing She-Hulk. Tim Roth is coming back to play Abomination. Mark Ruffalo is also confirmed to be in the series as the Hulk.
That's awesome.
Now, Kevin Feige said something during his presentation for She-Hulk that really got me going.
Oh, what
he said? He said Jennifer Walters is an attorney that specializes in helping the costumed and superhero community. So you never know who may pop up in the stories from episode to episode.
That's interesting.
Love it.
Wait.
So
I have another question though. Is it going to be are we going to see Mark Ruffalo's like the Hulk, Bruce Banner, like that form of it? Like when he's like permanently like, you know what I mean? Like which form are we getting?
I think we'll get both. If they're bringing in the Abomination, I don't think, if this is a coming into your power story for Jennifer Walters, I don't see her fighting the Abomination by herself. I think that's kind of crazy. But I do think we'll get to see the origin story. She is going to get shot. And Bruce is going to have to give his blood. And that's obviously what turns her into the She-Hulk. I don't think you could tell this story without doing the origin. Because it's cool. It's a cool origin. Like, we find out that Bruce Banner's blood is literally the elixir to turn somebody into the Hulk. So that not only starts the story for She-Hulk, but that also starts to open the door for other Hulk like characters, right? Somebody can steal his blood. Somebody can, there's all kinds of different directions they can go with this. So
I've said this before, but I would be so mad if he was my cousin and he did that. I would be so pissed. And no one else could donate me blood.
So I don't know how they're gonna do with Tatiana, but I'd love to see her kind of like retain her look through that digital process. Because she has such a unique look, and I'd love to see her kind of maintain it. And also she's an incredibly versatile actor, like incredibly versatile, because she played all the clones on Orphan Black.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this a million times. She's the greatest living actress in the world right now. She can give Meryl Streep a run for her money, no doubt. I think she's amazing and she's so talented, but she's a huge liar and I'm very mad at her right now. But anyways, so moving on, this project I'm super excited for because Kevin Feige went out of his way to underline some very key things about this character and some of the things in the story I'm very excited for. So Moon Knight, he talked about Oscar Isaacs playing Moon Knight.
Wait, did he confirm?
Also talked about
is it Oscar
Isaacs is confirmed. Yeah, it's Oscar Isaacs.
No way.
I think yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 100% confirmed.
My goodness.
Yeah. So they're going to lean pretty heavily into the dissociative identity disorder that Moon Knight suffers from. So Oscar Isaac's going to be playing all three characters, the billionaire, the cab driver, and the mercenary. So I'm super stoked because I think Oscar Isaacs has the range to do all of those. If you've only seen him as Poe Dameron, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Because, watch him in Llewellyn Davis, watch him in Ex Machina, watch him in
so good in Ex Machina. Like I forget that they're the same characters. I forget that he's
fucking
the same
terrifying.
Character.
Yeah. He's fucking terrifying, dude. Oscar Isaacs is fucking terrifying in that. Oh, and Sucker Punch. Oh my God, is he so good in Sucker Punch? Holy shit, is he good in Sucker Punch? I hope him and Zack Snyder get to work together again at some point because he was so good in Sucker Punch. But yeah, he's got the range. Like he's like a male Tatiana Maslany. That's the best way.
I've only seen him as Poe Dameron, but I'm really excited to see what else he can
Poe
do.
Dameron.
Dameron, sorry.
Poe Dameron. Okay. But yeah, and then the other thing that they talked about, or Kevin talked about, is they're going to really lean into the Egyptology. Like there's going to be a lot of that. And the director is Egyptian, and he's got, you know, I think he's actually done some cultural stuff that ties into Egypt. So I think that could be really, really cool to do. I think Egypt's fascinating. I've watched John Anthony West's documentary on Egypt like 40 times. It's called Magical Egypt. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's freaking fantastic. It's so good. Like you get, anyways, it's so just, yeah, so good. Next project, Secret Invasion.
Yeah, this one's
with
really
Sam
exciting
Jackson.
for me. I'm excited to see this.
Why are you so excited for it?
I feel like it's a big moment in the Marvel comics. So and
It is.
It also brings in like all the aliens and the Skrulls, and there's just a lot of conflict there, and it makes it really, it changes the Marvel landscape and makes it more interesting, I think. So.
Drastically, changes it drastically. Yeah. So Secret Invasion not only was a story in the comic books, it was also in the Avengers animated series. They did an entire season where the Skrulls basically tried to take over the world.
Yeah.
They tried to take over Earth. And they were replacing heroes. They replaced Captain America. They replaced everybody. They replaced as many people as they possibly could. So, you know, that's how they take over a planet. They just kind of insert themselves, you know?
And they can
so I think that's going to be,
that's how they do that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. They're shapeshifters. So Ben Mendelsohn's coming back as Talos. I thought those two guys had great chemistry together. So that should be really fun to watch. My only critique on this one is going to be that you're not going to get to see the bigger story. It's going to be the lead up to the invasion. There's no way they do this invasion on the small screen.
Yeah,
it's going to be the
They're
big
make
screen.
A movie out of it for sure, and it's definitely gonna be like the end game of one of the phases, probably phase 5. I would think. Yeah. No, for sure. I think that'll be the scope of it. So next one is Ironheart, it's going to be played by Dominique Thorne. Ironheart is Riri Williams, and she's an inventor, scientist, and she builds a suit of armor, kind of like Tony. Or I don't know the whole story. Honestly, when I heard the critiques of this comic book, I never touched it. Did you guys ever read Ironheart? I didn't, but it seems like it could be interesting.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. But Dominique Thorne has got some pretty good credits under her belt. She was in If Beale Street Could Talk. So
nice.
She's got a good background on her. And Kevin said specifically that this could tie into MCU features. So that's something. And then the next one is Armor Wars. Don Cheadle's coming back as Rhodey, as War Machine. And I think this is about Tony's intellectual property, his designs being stolen, and then other people building his armor. And if this story takes place, well, the story obviously takes place after he's dead. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that it's going to be Don Cheadle, you know, it's going to be James Rhodes trying to trying to deal out justice, you know, like to fix things, because his friend is gone, and he knows that if his friend was alive, his friend would do everything he possibly could do to get those plans back, or to stop whoever's behind this or whatever. So I think that's a really kind of cool story to explore with War Machine. I think that could be really cool. So, let's see. What do we got next?
The Guardians of the Galaxy
my favorite
holiday special. That's a very.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite. Okay. So this is one of the most exciting projects I think has been announced by the MCU during Investors Day, because okay, Groot isn't a Douglas fir. He's not a pine tree, but they're going to be hanging Christmas lights on him for sure. He's going to get tinsel and Christmas lights and ornaments.
This is going to
and
get
it's
weird.
obviously going to be it's going to get weird. And obviously it's going to be Peter Quill bringing Earth's cultures into the conversation during Christmas time in space, and it's going to be the Guardians experiencing Christmas for the first time. I love this. I think
like
this
it
is
has
going to be
potential
great.
to be like a very heartwarming Christmas movie. Maybe
Totally.
something along the lines of a Ghostbusters or something.
I totally think so. I think this is going to be my new favorite Christmas special. I think this is going to be my go-to.
And note that
for the rest
says
of my
holiday special, so they might tie in some other holidays as well.
Some alien holidays, some Drax holidays, some Gamora holidays. But yeah, no, this could be really, really, really freaking cool. And I know for a fact that Peter is going to find some Christmas music tape that he hasn't listened to in ages. And
From
that's
the 80s.
That's going to be
it's going to be Mariah.
Yeah,
Wait,
Mariah?
totally.
Did Mariah
No,
was
not
that
in
song
the-
out in
no.
the 80s?
No, not
No,
in the
but
80s.
who
It's
would
no.
gonna be Wham. It's gonna be Georgia Michael's Last Christmas.
Oh.
Maybe some Bing
That would be
Crosby.
great.
It's got to be something ridiculous.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I hope they do Baby It's Cold Outside, and we get to see like the reactions across the group.
No, I don't think they'll
It's,
do that
you know,
one because that song's.
I hope they
it's too
do, because it would be
controversial.
funny. Screw that. But it would be funny if they did do it, and then Peter's like adding commentary to it. Maybe he knows what's going on Earth. Maybe he has space Twitter, and he's like logging into Twitter, and he can see what's being said on Earth. I don't know, but that could be really fun.
I mean, you would hope so.
I'm
You would
very-
hope that they would have a social media that could be read in space.
No. I mean, like up in space, they can read what's happening on Earth on Twitter. But yeah. James Gunn's coming back to write and direct, which is great. James seems like a guy that really would know how to do Christmas. He does. He seems like a guy that would know how to do it. So I'm excited for it. I don't think there's obviously gonna I hope they don't try and do something cheesy like a villain, like a Christmas villain, like stealing presents or something stupid like that.
I hope not. I hope they don't make it too
Just-
cheesy.
Just make it cool. Make it like a I don't know, like a, what do you call it? Like doing like a gift exchange, like a Kris Kringle, Kris Kringle and games and Gamora and Peter maybe have a little moment between them. I don't know. I think that could be really dope. Saba, what do you think? You've been very quiet about this Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh
holiday
no,
special.
I know you guys are really excited about it. No, I think it'll be fun. It'll definitely be fun. I wonder how long it'll be and how much
It's probably
time like
short.
the actual.
I don't think it will be a long movie.
And I think
don't
it might
see
be like
that.
a bit of a flashback too, probably taking place before like Endgame and stuff. I'm
Good
assuming,
call.
right?
Good call. Yes, good call. He's definitely going to flash back to his childhood with his
Yeah,
mom.
yeah, I
There's
think
going to be
so.
these very emotional, like Christmas scenes with his mom for sure. 100%. Yeah. And maybe Ego came during Christmas. Maybe Ego showed up one day during Christmas and he remembers his dad or something. I don't know. That could be kind of dope. So I'm really, really, really excited for that one. Okay, so on to the movie announcements. Let's start with probably the biggest one and the one I think that makes the most sense. Black Panther 2 is being written right now by Ryan Coogler. Chadwick Boseman is not going to be recast, or T'Challa is not going to be recast. It looks like, and that makes sense because the Black Panther is a mantle, is a role that's been passed down from generation to generation to generation. So it's not just one person. It's like there's an entire pantheon of Black Panthers, right? So it completely makes sense that they wouldn't recast this role. Well, they're obviously gonna have I think they're gonna have another Black Panther. It's T'Challa is not going to be recast. I think Kevin Feige should have been a little bit clearer about that and just said we're not recasting T'Challa, because that would have
Right.
made more sense. Because they're definitely going to have another Black Panther. whether it's going to be Shuri, I don't know. What's her face has got herself in a lot of trouble as of late. Letitia Wright. She went on this. She posted an anti-vaccination video, and
Oh, she did?
from some from like some right-wing Christian group or something like that. And granted, maybe she didn't watch the whole thing, but there's some pretty powerful anti-trans messages in there too.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, but like you gotta give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she didn't watch the whole thing because the
That's
guy
the
isn't
thing.
going.
You shouldn't be posting things that you haven't watched on your social media.
I agree.
Especially if you
I
have
agree.
a large following of people that are not your friends.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. I
Yeah,
totally
no, I'm
agree.
not saying like, oh, you know, she's canceled, whatever else. But yeah, it's something to learn from if she did not watch the whole thing and posted it. And if she did, that's interesting. I think Shuri
Yeah.
would be could be a choice just because obviously that does happen in the comics. One thing that might not be as obvious, you know, Winston Duke, who played M'Baku, I really liked his character. I really like that actor as well.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like they might bring in someone completely new, but it makes more sense for them to pull from the cast they already have. So that I haven't heard any rumors about that. I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah,
And Baku would be interesting, but he's too funny. He's too funny. Like he doesn't really have the stoicism or like the crazy wisdom.
I don't think it has to be such a serious role, like especially if it's not T'Challa. Like if the mantle's passed on to someone else.
also T'Challa was also funny.
Vibe to it, yeah.
T'Challa was funny, but he wasn't like ha 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 and Baku funny.
Okay,
Like, he
M'Baku's
was
not
funny.
ha 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 funny either. Like, did you not
I thought
see
he
that
was ha
scene?
ha ha funny. I thought he was ha 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 funny, but I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong. But
Yeah.
but going back to the Black Panther role. So you basically become the like if you win in that challenge for the throne, you become the Black Panther, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they find a way to execute that again, but without T'Challa. Does that make any sense?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It would have to be something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope they make they do something that would be relevant to the culture. That would make the most sense.
Yeah,
'Cause the
well, they
culture
would
was
have
well
to. That's really
established in the movie, so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The tradition, right? Like the
Mhm.
tradition has to be, it has to continue. So maybe Shuri is the one that, or what about Nakia? Nakia. She was the one that was going to fight T'Challa if the river people challenged, right?
Oh yeah, she was for sure. That definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, what about Okoye then? If we're just thinking.
But she's not. But no. But she's Dora Milaje.
Yeah. Okay. And so she.
Ye-
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know
so
that
she
she's
has to
part of the
protect
Dora.
the king.
Yeah, I know she's part of that, but I mean, I'm just throwing out another character out there. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other guy got in trouble.
Yeah,
I
the
can't remember
other-
his name.
I don't remember his name in the actual movie, but yeah,
In-
he did get in some shit. So I don't know. He's
The
in the
Border
doghouse
Tribe,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, the border tribe. But yeah, no, it could be interesting for sure. It could be really cool. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The rumor is it's going to be the submarine, the Submariner as the villain.
Yeah.
Because they kind of dropped an Easter egg about Atlantis, in Endgame. So maybe that's the direction they go. I don't know. So other movie news that was announced by Kevin Feige. Thor: Love and Thunder is already in production right now. They're in Australia, already commencing with principal photography. And they announced that not only is Valkyrie, so Tessa Thompson's returning as Valkyrie. Natalie Portman is obviously back as Jane Foster, and Chris Hemsworth is back as Thor Odin's son. And we have a new addition to the cast, who is Christian Bale playing Gore, the fucking God Butcher.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And I think you predicted that would be one of the villains in the upcoming
did.
Marvel movies. So
I did, and I am so excited to see Gord the God Butcher on a screen because his character is so visually compelling and stunning in the comics. Like he's not colorful or anything, but he just looks incredible. Like he's just this incredible looking character. Oh, and also Jamie Alexander is apparently coming back as Lady Sif as well. So I think that's going to add to the love and thunder. Right?
Wait, what's the actress's name again? Who was it?
Jamie Alexander. She's the one in Blind Spot.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh, I remember her. Yeah, they had her in the second one, and then she just kind of like disappeared, right?
Yeah, I think she's coming back for a very specific reason. I think we're gonna find out that Lady Sif and Valkyrie had something going on at some point.
Oh, possibly. I mean,
I think that's gonna be the thing there. Yeah, and then so we'll see what happens, but I'm really excited for this movie. Taika Waititi is a fantastic director, never disappoints. The Thor character has been taken in such an interesting direction. You know, since the Dark World, he's become this more grounded, more mainstream, more self-aware, more self-deprecating character. I kind of miss a little bit of the regalness of the character. You know, when we did our Thor Ragnarok episode, you know, I was very adamant about that we lost something with that character. I still feel like we lost something. But I think we gained something too.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
I'm okay with the direction that the character moved in, and I think the character fits better with like the wider scope of Marvel films. I think he's easier to put in them and to have like a more consistent vibe across the films.
Yeah. And then Captain Marvel 2, it looks like Teyonah Parris is going to be in there playing Monica Rambeau. Is it Yeah, it's Monica Rambeau. Yeah, Monica Rambeau. And also Iman Vellani is going to be there as Miss Marvel. And there was somebody else that was announced in casting other than Brie Larson. I can't remember. Yeah, so when Kevin was doing his film segment, he also mentioned that Shang-Chi is wrapped production. They're pretty much done. And he was throwing a shout out to Simu Liu. So apparently he killed it. So Canadians doing it for Marvel. Doing it for Marvel.
Nice.
You know what? Because we have so many Canadians doing a great job for Marvel, I think we need to put it on Kevin Feige to cast a Canadian as Wolverine. I think that's
yeah.
I think that has to happen. I think that has to happen.
Start the change.org petition, Frank.
Yeah. Cast a Canadian as Wolverine because, you know, you got Ryan Reynolds, Canadian, killing it as Deadpool, and will continue to kill it as Deadpool, right? And you got Simu Liu, you've got Iman Vellani, you got Tatiana Maslany. Canada's killing it in Marvel. So let's get a Canadian in the Wolverine role, please, because that would make us so happy. We would probably declare a National Wolverine Day if that actually happened. But yeah. So so that's super exciting. I'm excited to see this movie because one, I know that they're going to do this beautiful job of interweaving, you know, all kinds of different Asian cultures into the story. And there's going to be some great action scenes and great kung fu. And it's going to be like David Carradine on steroids. It's going to be awesome. And I'm super excited to see it. And I think it's going to be great. And Michelle Yeoh's in it too. And if you've seen what she did in Jackie Chan's movies and in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, she's phenomenal.
She's great.
She's a phenomenal talent.
Also Crazy Rich Asians. She was amazing in.
Dramatic role. Yeah, I haven't watched that movie yet. Yeah, I haven't watched that movie yet. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
I haven't seen that. Either.
Oh my gosh, Christina, you would love it. Anyway, that's a sidebar.
Nice. Okay, I'll
watch
check
the
it out
movie.
then.
It's great.
I'll check it out.
But you know what's kind of wacky? She's in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Who was she in Guardians?
She was the Asian captain during the funeral, during the Ravager's funeral.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was.
Right?
She was in that.
Right?
Look at her just popping around. I mean, she looks pretty like different in that role though, like in Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like she's gonna look different in Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Well, her and Gemma Chan are now part of the two-parter club because Gemma Chan played I can't remember the character's name, but she was in Captain Marvel, and she's in the Eternals. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, the other big announcement was for the Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania. That's a cool name, Quantumania. I dig that. Everybody's coming back. Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, Paul Rudd's coming back. Evangeline Lilly's coming back, and they're recasting Cassie Lang. I think her name is Catherine Payton. Was that right?
Oh, is that was she in that Pokemon movie, or is that just me thinking that she was in the Pokemon movie?
I don't know. You probably know way more about the Pokemon movie than I do.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was her. Okay, well that's cool.
I think it's Catherine Payton.
Yeah, it's Catherine Newton. It is.
Oh, I got it right. Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cassie Lang's been recast. Honestly, I really like the actress that played Cassie Lang in Endgame, but you know, it was kind of a small part, and maybe this girl will take it to the whole other level. So could be exciting to see. But again, this is a big role because if they do Young Avengers, she's gonna get cast in that role. Like I can't remember the name of the character that has that power.
And she
Young
wasn't
Avengers.
Detective Pikachu, so yeah.
Yeah, so that's Catherine Newton. Catherine Newton.
Oh, Catherine Newton. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
should we redo that?
No, not a big deal.
Okay.
Okay.
And the name of the character that they are going to introduce is Stature.
Stature, that's it. That's the name. Right. Okay. Yeah, I never got into the Young Avengers. It's not really my scope.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be
I
a
know
Young
some
Avengers
of the characters
movie too, because they've brought a lot of Young Avengers into the MCU now. So
yeah, they're definitely going to do some YA shit for sure. It's going to happen. Yeah.
You sound so excited about it.
I'm not at all. I'm not excited for it at all. The only one I'm excited to see is Patriot, because that will give us an MCU tie to Isaiah Bradley, which is the original Captain America. And I want to see that story. I want to see that black, red, and white story.
I sometimes like YA movies, but yeah, it will depend on how they do it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But this movie brings in a huge big bad, Kang the Conqueror, being played by Jonathan Majors from another casting from Lovecraft Country. Jonathan Majors is an incredible actor. Kang the Conqueror is this insane big bad. He time travels. He's got crazy weaponry. He's like from like the 28th century or 33rd century or some crazy shit. So this is going to be interesting. I don't know why they would bring him in an Ant-Man story, but he's always been a traditional villain of the Avengers. And so I guess this is going to kind of snowball into something much bigger with Kang the Conqueror. But I don't know why Ant-Man, but you know, I guess we'll see it play out. But I love Paul Rudd. I think Paul Rudd kills this role every time. I think Paul Rudd was one of the saving graces of Endgame.
Yeah, he's such a great actor. I love him a lot.
He's fantastic. He's fantastic. He brings so much levity and so much humor to the character. He's so cool. I really, really dig the way that he plays him. So should be interesting. And then another big announcement. It looks like Fantastic Four is in development. John Watts has been named as director. John Watts is the director of Spider-Man Far From Home. And I believe, was he the director of Homecoming?
And Homecoming as well, yeah.
Was he? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So he's the guy that's been directing the Spider-Man franchise. So I see, because of John Watts, I'm suspecting this is going to go in a young direction. I really kind of feel that way. But then again, you don't see many people get married in their 20s. And Sue Storm and Reed Richards are probably going to be married at some point very soon, because that's an iconic.
People get married in their late 20s. That's a thing.
Yeah, but I also, when you look at their careers as well, though, like what they do, like they would have to be a little bit older anyway, you know, like no one's, you're not going to have like a 15-year-old astronaut, scientist, whatever. So,
no,
but the vibe might be a little bit more similar to maybe the Homecoming movies. I don't know how I feel about this, you know, I'm kind of tuckered out of Fantastic Four, but you know, third time's a charm, right? Is that what they say? So Who
I
knows?
do think that they are fun characters, and I have read series of comics that I like that are Fantastic Four comics.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it has potential to be something good, and I'd like to see them give it a shot. So yeah.
Well, I'd like to add that the meanwhile back on the podcast is championing Alice Eve to be Sue Storm, because we did that. We did a graphic on our Instagram, and she literally is the physical embodiment of that character in the comic
Frank
books.
likes to do these. He likes to choose actors and actresses to.
I like
to
the fan cast.
Yeah.
I like the fan cast. And honestly, like, look at her. She looks just like Sue Storm in the comic books. She's a perfect casting. She should be Sue Storm. Everybody else wants Emily Blunt. I like Emily Blunt. She's a fantastic actress, but she looks nothing like Sue Storm.
I don't think
She
the
looks
looks
nothing like
are
Sue
what
Storm.
makes it. I think it's the vibe that you bring to the character. So
Yes, but a good actor can bring any vibe to any character,
yeah,
right? And Alice Eve is a great actress.
but that's
like,
yeah, okay, because that's what I mean by it's not all about the look. Sometimes you get a character that brings the right personality.
yeah.
Or an actor.
Did you guys watch Iron Fist season 2? Because she was in Iron Fist season 2, and she played this. Oh, you didn't see it? Okay,
Gotta
she played
say,
this
I didn't watch
schizophrenic
Iron Fist.
at all, even season 1.
No,
Wow.
I really didn't.
Did you watch Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones or no?
I watched a bit of Daredevil and I saw some Jessica Jones. I didn't really watch Luke Cage, which I was like, I planned to watch the shows, but this is like I told you, I'm really bad. If like the show starts kind of losing interest for me, like I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time, and I stop, which I know is bad. Why is it bad? Actually, I don't know.
It's not. I don't think it's bad. I watched season 1 of Jessica Jones, and then I tried to watch season 2, but I never ended up getting through season 2. But I did like season 1, and the other shows, yeah, I couldn't. I watched a bit of Luke Cage. No, actually, I did watch all of Luke Cage, and then I couldn't get into the other ones that were in that.
Well, I've definitely been a huge fan of the Netflix series, so and she's amazing in it. Like, she killed it in in Iron Fist season 2. She played Typhoid Mary. She's got like this crazy multiple personality, and she killed it. She was so good at it.
You should do that for your unpopular opinions that you liked Iron Fist, because I don't think a lot of people did.
When we do our unpopular, are we doing our popular opinions episode?
Yeah.
Maybe I will do Iron Fist. But yeah, so like we said at the top, this is going to be a 2-parter. We're going to end it right here because it's getting late, and we want to save the trailers for the next episode, because we're going to do some deep dives into the trailers. We're going to talk about some Easter eggs, because there's a lot of shit being given away in these trailers that you guys might not know about. And we're going to try and lay it all out for you. So make sure you come back for that second part. So before we go, if you guys could head over to Podchaser, Stitcher, or Apple Podcasts and drop us a review, that would be great. Also, tell your friends about our show. If you have anybody in your life who's geek-minded just like you are, be sure to tell them about our show. If you love it, maybe they'll love it. And we're going to sign off here. I'm Frank McGuire.
I'm Christina Dudamos.
I'm Saba Mir.
Peace.